Boom, shakalaka boom. You've tuned in to the Free Range Human Show of Choice, your daily dose of reality radio. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I am, of course, Clay Edwards. Good morning to everybody out there in Radio Land. I hope everybody is doing fine this morning. I know I am doing quite well here on 103.9 FM, WYAB, streaming worldwide at WYAB.com, as well as the TuneIn app and Alexa. Just search WYAB. And if all else fails, you can jump in one of the fastest growing live streams in the state of Mississippi. That's right, 7 to 9 a.m. right here every morning on all the big social media platforms, Facebook, X, and YouTube. We're at SaveJXN. If you are a big participant or a fan of Rumble, the big free speech platform, I don't know, they're the second largest streaming platform. I know we don't do Twitch because Twitch does not allow this kind of content, so we don't even try. But as far as political stuff and whatnot, I would say that Rumble is the second largest platform, and it is a free speech platform. So they're not going to ding you for talking about guns and murder and all the other stuff that the other places don't like. COVID vaccines in general, yada, yada, yada. All the things that kept us in trouble the last couple of years until here recently, until Trump got reelected, and poof, all that kind of went away. With the exception of Facebook coming back and banning me or demonetizing me for 3 months over a post from 2 years ago. But that's AI. That's AI working for you. Anyway, we're at Clay Edwards Show on Rumble. At Clay Edwards Show. At SaveJXN does take you to my platform there, but when I set it up, I didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't that familiar with it. And you set up like a main channel, then you set up sub-channels under that. So the main channel is at SaveJXN, but to get the notifications for the live show, it's at Clay Edwards Show. So anyway, I guess if you're running, it would be great for like WYAB to set up a Rumble channel at WYAB, like a main one, and then you could set the Kim Wade Show, the Clay Edwards Show, and any other show up under that, Andrew Gosser, etc., up under that, and then kind of stream to a main channel there. But I like owning the rights to all my stuff, being able to take it with me if I leave. But I wouldn't have a problem with that either, though. I mean, we're talking about 100 people, not that big of a deal. Anyway, I digress. We're in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios. Man, it was a big old weekend. Big old weekend. Look, if you want to chime in this morning, I don't give out my email too often. I just forget. I know there are people who do prefer that, especially sitting at their desk and want to send an email. That's fine. Clay@WYAB.com. Clay@WYAB.com is the email. As Jameson Haygood says, spell the name right or I won't get it. It's CLAY. Contrary to popular belief, it does not start with a K. Anyway, the Guns and Gear text line is 769-241-1944. And the Mazda of Jackson phone line is 601-879-0002. You must call from an actual phone number. I have caller ID. If it says private, I will not answer that no matter how many times you call, crazy little girl. Coming up this Friday, the return of Sean Yurtkuran to the show should be good. So we're looking forward to that. So Sean will be back on the show Friday, at least every Friday that he's available moving forward. So we're excited to have Sean back on the show. What else do we have? Any other announcements I need to get out of the way? Thinking about doing a lunch Friday. It's my birthday weekend. My birthday is Sunday, so I thought maybe we'll do a FAFO Friday lunch somewhere, yet to be determined. I will figure that out today. See which restaurant wants to roll out the red carpet for us and see what they'll provide. I don't want to pay for my lunch. How about that? I don't want to pay for my lunch. But we'll figure that out. There's a part of me that wants to go out to Cyprus and everybody try that ribeye steak sandwich. I mean, it's $20. If you can afford a $20 lunch and your game, I mean, who can't? Let's be honest. I don't want to count your money, but if $20 if you really got to think twice about it and check your bank account and all that kind of stuff, you don't need to be spending $20. You don't need to spend $1 of that $20. I mean, I get if you kind of wince at it a little bit, like, $20 for lunch. What is the difference in $10 and $20 at the end of the day? If $20 is a problem, so is the first 10. That's kind of my thought process. It's like if I'm going to buy a vehicle, and the vehicle I really, really want, I'm just using round numbers here, is $1,000 a month, but I've determined that my budget is $900, and there's no way, no how, no nothing, no maneuvering of the numbers that I can get it down to $900. It's going to be $1,000. Well, if $100 extra a month at the end of the day, is that detrimental to my budget? The other $900 is really what I need to be worried about, not that $100. And I don't take financial advice from me. I'm just telling you that you need to be shopping for something $400 and $500 a month, not $900 a month. If you can't swing $20 for a ribeye steak sandwich at lunch, you probably don't need to be buying lunch. Period. You need to be packing your lunch every day and saving your money. And I ain't hating. I completely understand if you do, but as I've been telling people about that sandwich and they kind of wince, like, I don't know, $20. Like I said, you don't need to be spending $5 at lunch. If you can't drop 20 every now and then, treat yourself, boo-boo. Treat yourself. Don't beat yourself. Treat yourself. I'm sure there's some ghetto slang combination that we can put together to make that make sense. I know there's some hood rat stuff out there, like don't treat yourself, don't beat yourself, treat yourself, something like that. Anyway, we'll let the restaurateurs out there put something together and let us know what they want to offer us. That was me alarm there. I set an alarm not to wake up, but to remind myself to look at all the stories that I saved on Instagram this weekend to talk to y'all about. There's all kind of good stuff out there. Shout out to McBee's. McBee's will be putting in an offer for our Friday lunch. We'll see what Michael wants to put together there. Let's see here. Man, have y'all been following? And look, there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about today. I'm going to tell you, like, I actually did show prep last night, but y'all know the first segment of the show, I kind of like to wing it because it's just 3 hours of me today. There is no guest in the third hour. It is just 3 hours of the Clay Edwards Show. There is no heavy hitters today. I am the heavy hitter. Maybe I'll tell my story again for those that hadn't heard it for the 872nd time. Let's see here. What all did I put in the show notes this morning? Dun-dun-dun. I already had the notes pulled up. I don't know why I did it this way. Trump saves D.C. like Capitol Police and Tate saved Jackson. We'll definitely talk about that. School choice is not good Republican policy, despite what they continue to club you upside the head and tell you. Again, school choice is not good Republican policy. It will destroy the suburban public school districts when you let culture rot and cancerous culture from cities like Jackson into it. That's a fact, not an opinion. A black man made history over the weekend. This day in black history. In what I'm calling the most epic beer run in history. We're going to tell you about that. Here's something that hits a little closer to home, something I've actually intentionally avoided talking about, but now that it's hit close to home, we will. AI is making swatting calls into the Rankin County Sheriff's Department. These are absolutely going to get people killed and are throwing. Sorry, I somehow mixed two things together there. Let's see here. It's too late to edit that. Anyway, I was half asleep when I was typing these descriptions last night. I'll tell you what I did here. It says AI is making swatting calls in the Rankin County Sheriff's Office. These are absolutely going to get people killed. I was supposed to space down a little bit and then say, people are throwing huge green dildos onto the WNBA court. They hate it, and I love it. But somehow I tied in the sheriff's department getting swatting calls and people throwing huge green dildos onto the WNBA court. I'm sure WNBA players have been sneaking in big green dildos the hard way into arenas for years. So they shouldn't be surprised that people are throwing them at them. But I absolutely love it because they take themselves so serious. They're so serious at the WNBA that dudes are throwing big green dildos at them. You know what? I've named one of them, actually. Since they're green and they look like a pickle, you get it like a dill pickle. We're naming them Dildo. Dill is the first name. Dough is the last name. Dildo. Was his name, oh? And, of course, we're going to talk about Shedeur Sanders versus Jackson Dart's first game stat comparisons. The media is having an absolute love fest, telling us, oh, see how Shedeur Sanders should have been the first pick in the draft. You see, Shedeur should have been the first overall pick. It was just last week where we were talking about he's only starting this game because everybody else is injured, and he's probably not going to be on the roster game one. And I still am in that category unless he continues to have good games in the preseason. I'm not pulling against Shedeur. I just can't stand the over-the-top arrogance. I can't stand what he did on draft night with his little draft room and all that stuff. I thought it was really lame. And I thought that he got humbled, which I do think is the best thing for him, was getting humbled like that. 100%. I'm not pulling for him to get cut. I do think he will, but I hope I'm wrong because from a soap opera standpoint, from a sports coverage standpoint, Sean and I will be doing a sports show again this year. It won't be live on location every weekend. We will do some live on location most likely, but we'll be doing it via Zoom or whatever, like we do our nighttime show occasionally. He'll be at his house, I'll be at mine, but it'll be every Saturday morning. And with us not having to tote all the equipment around and get set up early and all that stuff, it'll make for a better show most of the time. And it'll definitely make for us getting started on time every time and not me dragging my feet. So anyway, it'll make for good content if Shedeur makes the team because it'll be people constantly arguing about that. Like they did, should Tebow be a starter? Like the LeBron versus Jordan stuff. It'll be exciting. Excuse me, got the hiccups this morning. It'll be exciting. So I'm pulling for Shedeur. I'm not a Shedeur hater. I think he's been humbled. I think what happened draft night and him falling down to the 5th or 7th round or whatever it was, I think will absolutely humble him. And we are going to be talking a lot more sports on this show come football season. I have for the last 4 years, last 1,030 episodes, tried to avoid sports. But I think this town needs a sports option during the morning that's not rinse repeat. I think there needs to be somebody that's openly conservative talking about sports in this market. Not trying to pretend they're not conservative, not trying to just stick to sports. So we're going to talk about sports and football too, because the liberal media, the liberal sports media, the mainstream sports media have had no problem shoving liberal sports down our throats and politics, liberal politics down our throats for the last 6, 7, 8, 9 years. So I have no problem talking about sports from a conservative standpoint and calling out all the stuff that I think is racist and whatnot. And we're not going to just do politics. It's going to be sports, but we may do a dedicated sports hour on Fridays. I don't know. I'm still waving it all out. And we may just mix in a segment every day as the stories develop. We're not going to get into, because I want to expand this brand. Because at the end of the day, that's what this is. I want this to expand. I don't want to get into statewide politics. I find statewide politics nauseously boring. I'm just going to tell you, that's what, if you want statewide politics every day, that's what Super Talk is for. And they do it great. That's what they're for. That's not what Clay Edwards show is. You know, I don't want to poo-poo on any of my other WYAB hosts. If that's what they want to do, by all means, y'all can do that. I would much rather stick to the hyper-local stuff here in Jackson, the culture war stuff that we do, some national Trump stuff, and SEC football and a little NFL football. And I think that in UFC and WWE, this show's going to evolve. We're going to talk about the things that I truly enjoy talking about, because the minute this show starts feeling like a job and I just have to force topics that are political just because that's what I feel like the audience wants to hear, I'm probably going to quit and go do something else. So I got to stay authentic to me. That's what got me here, and that's what I'm going to continue doing. I hope y'all will bear with it. I hope some of y'all will enjoy it. I know some of y'all won't, but hey, there's no way you enjoy everything I do now anyway. So we're going to mix it up just a little bit. And what got me to thinking about this was just over the last few weeks as it's getting closer to football season, I've been having to kind of grin and bear a little bit of ESPN and a little bit of local talk radio. Now, there's one great local talk radio show, and I want to make sure I give him his flower. My boy Jake Wimberly, great talk radio show. I ain't talking about Jake when I say these things. But I've been, again, forced-fed everything's racist if you don't 100% give the minorities exactly what they say they must have. Oh, it's racist. So I'm tired of hearing that already. So we're going to give you the other side of that. But at the end of the day, this is still mainly a political show, and we will stick to that most of the time. But if half a show here and there, I want to jump down a football rabbit hole, I'm going to jump down a football rabbit hole. We may start interviewing people, insiders at State, Ole Miss, other things, covering some Cowboys, covering some Saints, following players that have local ties, the Chiefs, Chris Jones, Dak Prescott. I can go on and on and on. Anyway, all right, let's take a break. When we come back, white on white crime grips Jackson, Mississippi. It's so bad. It's so dangerous at Jackson gas stations now. White folks is killing each other at them. It's probably school choice's fault, too. We'll be right back to discuss. This is the Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show here live on WYAB. I am Clay Edwards. I am in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios. Guys, don't hesitate today. Text Clay to 601-800-5031. 601-800-5031. Text my name, Clay, and get scheduled for a complimentary testosterone screening. They're going to do your blood work. They're going to test. They're going to look at more than just your testosterone levels. It's a full panel for the most part. They're going to be looking at your estrogen and all sorts of other things. Maybe they find something you didn't know you needed. All kind of other abnormalities. Take advantage of that. Plus, get to check out the lovely ladies that work there. My goodness, it's a men's clinic done right. The ladies there are very easy on the eyes, I must say. I like just stopping by, hanging out, chatting with them. And they're listening this morning, I'm sure. Guys, ladies, I promise I'm not a creep. I'm just saying, y'all are good looking. You know it. So look, stop by, see them today, or text today. Stop by, see them once you get your appointment scheduled. And look, consider making them your general physician. It's way more than just testosterone there. Dr. Micah Walker, Nurse Pratt, Scott McCullough. These are such easy, laid-back folks to work with. You can have conversations, uncomfortable conversations. Maybe you need, I know there's kids in the car, but look, you're listening to the Clay Edwards Show. Y'all should know better by now. Them little blue pills, that Viagra, they'll write you that Viagra. All you gotta do, let them know. Boom, I need some Viagra. Okay, cool. Here you go. I mean, I'm sure it's a little more complicated than that, but it's just easy. It's easy. They make it easy. They make it comfortable. They ain't walking around there in white coats and a stethoscope hanging and, have you waiting in a little room for 30 minutes with your file on the door and a bunch of sick people around there. That's not what's going on here. This ain't like one of those minor med clinics. No knock at them. There's a place for them. God knows I spent my time sick in them. But, man, it's just the amount of money I save and the convenience using Men's Health of Mississippi as my general practitioner has been life-changing. And I don't use that jokingly. Life-changing. Remove the testosterone from the scenario, and I'll still be out there doing my business with them. But it's amazing how rare I'm sick now that I got my testosterone levels right. Start today. Text Clay, 601-800-5031, Men's Health of Mississippi. We got some breaking news during the break there. Breaking news. As I said, we're going to talk about sports on this show. One of my favorite sports, if not my current favorite sport, the UFC. This is huge. This is historic. This is earth-shattering, game-changing, wheeling-dealing, kiss-stealing, jet-flying, limousine-riding. It's that big of a deal. Moving forward in 2026, the UFC has a new home on Paramount Plus. What does that mean for you, the consumer? I'm glad you asked. I'm pulling it up on the screen here. I want everybody to see. Let me maximize it now. All right, here we go. Everybody should be able to see that good. If not, sorry about your luck. This historic deal, this is from Dana White. This historic deal with Paramount and CBS is incredible for UFC fans and our athletes. For the first time ever, fans in the United States will have access to all UFC content without a pay-per-view model, making it more affordable and accessible to view the greatest fights on a massive platform. This deal puts UFC amongst the biggest sports in the world. The exposure provided by the Paramount and CBS networks under this new structure is a huge win for our athletes and anyone who loves this sport. What this means is if you have Paramount Plus, you will be getting the majority of major UFC pay-per-views for free, or whatever the $5.99, $9.99, $15.99, I don't know, whatever it costs for Paramount Plus, which is really one of the better streaming apps because you have Yellowstone, Landman, all of that stuff on there, and a ton more stuff. That's where you can go find all the behind the musics, in case you didn't know. Paramount is owned by Viacom, which is on CBS. So if you've ever been looking like to go back and rewatch old behind the musics, they're on Paramount Plus. I love behind the musics. They can make any band interesting. And I imagine some of the bigger pay-per-views and the fight nights and all that will be, if I had to guess, on CBS, the major network. This is huge for the UFC because now it's one thing to be on ESPN. A lot of homes have ESPN, but still to this day, more homes have a broadcast network channel. That's your WO, that's your NBC, ABC, CBS. Those are still the big channels. That's why the NFL, their main portion of their schedules are on those channels. More people are just prone to watch those channels because they're free. All you got to have is a digital antenna or whatever now. So this is huge for the UFC. This is huge for based sports fans. It was Dana White. It was the UFC that stood up against the COVID nonsense and still had fights. When everybody said, oh my God, don't do it. You're going to make people super spreaders. Dana White that spoke at the Republican National Convention. It was Hulk Hogan, brother, that spoke at the Republican National Convention. These are real men doing real men stuff. You know, UFC is owned by TKO, which also owns the WWE now, and they moved to all their pay-per-views to ESPN's new app starting next year. And everybody was freaking out. Oh my God, it's $30 a month. I'm not going to pay $30 a month. Blah, 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 blah. Man, if you've already got the let's say cable, regular cable, if you have YouTube TV like I do, it ain't going to cost you a penny. You've already got it. You have access to the app with your YouTube TV subscription. Not going to cost you any extra. Red Zone channel, boom, shaka, laka, boom. WWE pay-per-views, boom, shaka, laka, boom. And now I do happen to have a Paramount Plus subscription. I went through the other day and I deleted all of my subscriptions to all the crap that I don't watch. Over $100 a month of crap. Killed it. Scratch. I did save a couple because they offered me 99 cents a month for 3 months. I will roll the dice on from $12.99 to 99 cents each for 3 months. Like for Apple TV and for a few others. I'm like, yes, I will do that. I don't mind 99 cents. And I set a reminder on my phone for the expiration date to cancel the day before. So that's a little food for thought there. If you guys have all these subscriptions, Netflix, Hulu, all these things, Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, Apple TV, go in and cancel them. And they'll give you a ridiculous offer not to cancel. If you have XM satellite radio right now, Call them and say, I want to cancel, that's just the one I forgot to do because this thing's like $30 a dang month after that free trial, but I listen to it every day. And because I like that wrestling channel on there and all the other sports stuff as well. But call them, say you want to cancel. Man, they'll offer you like 6 months for $1. Something crazy like that. They negotiate. Same reason I tell you fools to shop your insurance rates. Call Jamie Creel right downstairs here at Shelter Insurance. That's why you shop your insurance rates. They will pay you not to leave because they know you can save money. Not pay you, but it was basically paying you because you get to keep your money. They will incentivize you not to leave because most of these insurance companies know they're overcharging you. Call Jamie downstairs today, man. Let him shop your rates for you. Save you some money. If you hadn't shopped your rates in the last 6 months, you hadn't had an accident, you've been paying your bills on time, your credit's probably gotten better, your driving record's gotten better, your insurance rates should go down. Call Jamie Creel, Shelter Insurance Agent. I wasn't planning on talking about that, but I got the notification coming off that last segment. I was like, well, this is huge. I know I got a lot of UFC fans out there watching the show this morning because we talk about it a good bit. That's another sport that I want to start talking about a lot more, the UFC. I was saying this when I was coming before break. One of the things that really motivated me to decide to start to be comfortable about discussing more sports is I listen to like a lot of, I don't watch as much wrestling as I used to, but I do love the wrestling podcast and all that stuff. And just like there's so many of them, like, I don't know what happened. I don't know what the pussification of wrestling fan, how we got to this point, but wrestling has been taken over by all your Comic-Con people, all your cosplayers. And I like comics and stuff too, but it's been taken over by the fans have gone woke. They're all pro-trans and all this stuff. And the storylines and the wrestlers say non-political. But it's like the fans have gotten all gay. I'm like, man, there's got to be like surely somebody does like a conservative leaning podcast about wrestling, and I ain't found one. So I was thinking to myself, well, Clay, you know a guy yourself. But I don't want to do a whole wrestling podcast, but I do want to start talking about all that stuff a little bit more. Anyway, let's take a break, come back, and let's get into the white-on-white crime gripping Jackson, Mississippi. Let's get into why school choice will destroy the suburbs. Let's get into, I'm waiting on the Donald Trump press conference on what he's going to do to rid D.C. of the same element that is destroying Jackson, Mississippi. Fatherless, violent gangs. Am I saying that right? Gang members who don't know their daddies. We'll be right back on the Clay Edwards Show. Breaking rules when necessary. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show here on WYAB, live in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios. Guys, it's still hot as Hades outside. The sun's still beating down, wearing out your car's interior and its exterior, and it's all preventable. Reach out to my friends at Lakeland Glass and Tint and let them help you today get the ultimate protection for your vehicle's clear coat and paint with Expel ceramic coating or Expel vehicle wraps. That's right, man. Change the color of your vehicle. Turn it into a rolling billboard. Get your windows tinted. All that can help prevent damage from the sun and heat on your vehicle today. And let's just be honest. We can all handle it being just a little bit cooler inside these hot vehicles. I know I can. I'm glad that I went by Lakeland Glass and Tint and got my windows tinted on that Raptor. No regrets. No regrets. Not a single regret. Get your free quote today at LakelandGlassandTint.com. And hey, don't forget, they do homes, businesses. What else? Yeah, homes and businesses too. RVs. That's the other word I was looking for. Home, businesses, RVs, farm equipment. If it's got glass, it can be tinted. Lake on Glass and Tint can tint it. And, of course, don't forget, they do windshields and automotive glass replacement as well. And they got a brand new location right there in downtown Brandon on the corner of 471 and Highway 80, or West Government Street, as some call it, right down the road from 042 Wine and Spirits. Swing by there and get you a bottle after you get your windshield replaced of your favorite wine and spirit. All right, let's jump back into it, man. Big story that I kind of missed it when it happened. I ended up making a video about it late yesterday. I'm like, how did I miss this? How did I not get tagged 1,000 times in a WLBT post about this? Maybe I did. I really don't check my notifications. But breaking news from last week. I got to get this guy's picture on the screen here. I got to get Pookie's picture on the screen here. We got a white Pookie that we got to tell y'all about. We don't get a lot of white Pookies around here. Yeah, sad, man. I mean, I know I'm kind of making a little light of it. Somebody lost their life, and that's tragic, and I hate doing it like that. But, you know, man, you was in South Jackson, and it's things, unfortunately, this is South Jackson stuff. It happens. South Jackson gone South Jackson. Man, that reminds me. I got to tell y'all something funny in a second. I got to tell you, I got these people so beat up, living so rent-free in their head that I can't even call myself a boy anymore without them thinking the way I said boy was racist. I'm like, I literally just typed the word boy. I didn't say it no way. I just typed the word boy. Anyway, I'll tell you all about it in a second. It's hilarious. Oh, I love offending the offended. Love it. It's like, put it in my veins. I love messing with weak men, weak emotional men. Weak, hyper-emotional men are so fun to trigger. And these are the ones that don't even claim to be gay. Like, these are just like regular straight men. They definitely got some female tendencies. You can definitely tell who was raised only by their mamas. And I mean, they just can't hide it. Anyway, speaking of female tendencies, men that kill other men at gas stations, that's female tendencies right there. We got a story over here from WLBT. Let me cue this up. Won't take 2 seconds here. Tragic, man. I hate to see anybody lose their life, especially a guy with 5 kids. Here we go.
Breaking news now, Jackson police have arrested a man in connection with a murder last Friday. 33-year-old Corey McLaughlin has been charged with the murder of Sean Crenshaw. It happened August 1st on Robinson Street at the Shell gas station. Crenshaw had been shot multiple times, died from his injuries. The investigation is ongoing, and if you have any information, contact JPD or Crime Stop.
All right, so we got Crenshaw. We got McLaughlin's picture pulled up here on the screen. If y'all ever want to know what meth abuse and a white Pookie looks like, see, black folks, this is me calling out our Pookies. See, y'all don't call yours out at the rate that I would like to see happen. Y'all just don't do it for some reason. It's like, I just can't do it. I can't handle another black man, even though he isn't a Pookie. This is me calling out our Pookies. I ain't got no problem doing it. So you got Pookie here, Corey McLaughlin. Then got strung out on, I'm guessing, meth. The way his face is all sunk in, doesn't have any life in his eyes, just looks like a zombie, a lifeless, soulless zombie. And now he's done killed a good kid, a good man as far as I can tell. I don't know what they got sideways about. Maybe it was drug. I don't know. I don't want to speculate. If y'all can see on the screen here, here's the kid that got killed, Crenshaw. What's his name? Sean Crenshaw. Look now, this kid is survived by 3 sons, 2 daughters, and 1 living grandparent. Don't say a thing about a baby mama or mamas, but sad either way. I hope the kids got an adult in their life that's raising them and aren't going to end up in the system. That'd be sad. But here, Pookie here, all this because of Pookie, Corey McLaughlin. Man, Jackson, Mississippi gas stations, so dangerous, even white folks killing each other at them now. But people get mad at me when I talk about white folks in South Jackson. Bro, I know there's a few of y'all left over there that it's just that's the way things happen, and it's financially difficult to get out. But I'll say the same thing that I've been saying. Get your ass out of there. And also, being broke don't mean you got to smoke meth. And 99 times out of 100, if I see somebody white in the Robinson Road area of South Jackson, I think you're there because of meth. 100%. And black folks, I've been saying this. Y'all like to talk trash every time these white meth heads run amok over there in South Jackson. They're over there because y'all selling dope. Y'all selling them meth. Don't get mad. Don't get mad when you set up meth shop and people come and buy meth and do meth-related shenanigans. I mean, that's why they come over there. Because that stuff ain't tolerated in Rankin County. Whenever you hear about a drug bust in Rankin County, it's because we don't tolerate it. You tolerate it in Jackson. You get what you tolerate. That's why they all go to Jackson to do it, because they know the Rankin County don't play. And it don't matter which part, Richland, Flowood, Pearl, Brandon. None of them. They don't play that foolishness. Rankin County. They know that homie don't play that over there. I know so many secrets about how they bust y'all dummies. It ain't rocket science. But I guess y'all are future rocket scientists. You'll figure it out when you blast off into prison for the next 10 to 20. But one idiot off the streets, sadly, I'm sure the government going to get strapped with raising 5 kids or paying to support them anyway over this nut job's inability to control his emotions. Let's take a break. We'll be right back on WYAB. To the Clay Edwards Show here live in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios. We got about a minute before the top of the hour. Let's read a couple of your chats here on the live stream. Milo's Barbershop says, all in the middle of the streets. Talking about that crime. Oh, you're talking about the meth heads? Yeah, man, it's bad. My boy JC messing with me, man. Come on, JC. JC says, you must be smoking this morning, because most of the meth heads come from Rankin County. I didn't say they didn't come from Rankin County. I said they coming from Rankin County because they selling the meth in Jackson. That just make sure you got me right now. Yeah, y'all quit selling that good. They'll stay over there where they stay in Rankin County. Let's see here. Alan, watching on Facebook, says, well, safe to say, if they weren't selling it, chances are good they won't be there. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you ain't selling it, they wouldn't come over there. All right, look, man. We got a whole nother 2 hours to go this morning. It's just me flying solo in the studios today on the Clay Edwards Show. Hope y'all will stay strapped in and buckled up with me. Rip the knob off, turn the radio up. We ain't going nowhere. We'll be right back. All right, I'm going to stay in with y'all and read some of your chats and stuff, man. I appreciate y'all jumping in with me this morning. I don't want to leave y'all stranded for 7 minutes. Let's see what we got going on. Milo, back to Milo here. I'm starting at the most recent and working my way backwards on these chats, and I know it's probably the worst way to do it, but it is what it is. Milo's Barbershop. South Jackson is Zombieland. Milo, where's your barbershop at? I hadn't seen you on here before. Welcome to the show. I think maybe I have. We got a Bob's Barbershop. Or we got Bob the Barber. We got Milo's Barbershop. I like to plug local businesses, man. If you want to plug your business, I don't mind. Miss Angela. Good morning, Miss Angela. How you doing over at Mike Magazine? Y'all make sure to follow Miss Angela. We're going to try to get Miss Angela on the show one day this week. I got to reach out with her, get that scheduled. Everybody watching right now, if you don't mind, please hit the share button. Share this into your streams. That's how we help grow the show and kind of organically grow the show. Do your brother a solid. Do your brother a solid. Greg, I know you're talking about the school choice stuff. Yep, I'm going to talk about that a little bit in the next segment, or in the next hour anyway. Let's see here. Milo, Barbershop says, I think he's going to put the military in the streets, talking about Trump up in D.C. Yeah, I agree. Put the military in the streets. I don't know what else he can do. Well, unless he just takes it over. He does have the ability as president to take over D.C. So we'll see if he does that. It'll be interesting. Let's see here. So I told you we had another barbershop here. Bob's Barbershop Bob, says, let's start with the fact that Ole Miss is predicted to go 8-3. What do I think? Ole Miss 8-3? Yeah, I think they'll do that or better. It's all going to depend on quarterback play, obviously. You know, do they like that kid? Do they really think he's that good? I got to start breaking down rosters and looking at rosters. I hadn't got to the point where I'm quite ready to start predicting stuff, but Ole Miss is good. I mean, they spend a lot of money. Everybody was all upset last year saying, oh, this was the year they spent all the money this year. Would y'all think Ole Miss fans going to quit spending money? Ole Miss fans got long money. I'm a State fan, but look, I'd be lying. Y'all know Ole Miss fans got long money. They ain't going to just quit spending it. There's always going to be that next guy coming out of law school, that next guy that just made junior partner, just made partner in the law firm. Somebody at the medical school just became a big brain surgeon. I mean, just because old money retires don't mean new money ain't stepping up. They want their shine. They want to be the guy that got the kid. I mean, that's how it's always worked. When there was just a bag man taking the cash to the kids. All those old rich white guys. You know, they all want to be the one that got the player there. It ain't just Ole Miss. It's everybody. Y'all get over there, support Milo, man. We love to support it. We love shouting out our locally owned businesses, man. Keeping it going in Jackson, brother. Good stuff there. Greg Piggott. I know I say your last name wrong every time. Says, I drop off white people in Uber in South Jackson often. Most are either current or former drug users. Several ex-cons, a few down on their luck. One even told me she was glad she had a white driver. I was like, and you live off of Belvedere. Man, look, it's rough. It's rough. And I know some people end up in South Jackson because it's all they can afford. And I know I'm sounding like I'm throwing the baby out with the bathwater. But I'm just telling you, stereotypes are earned, not given. I see somebody white in South Jackson, my first assumption is you're a user. Or you're a former user who has burned every bridge and can't afford to live anywhere else. And God bless you. I hope you get your life straight and can get up out of South Jackson before you get sucked back in or you die. I mean, I get it, man. That is where that poverty, that generational poverty stuff, where I do understand it. But you got it. You're in a bad season. You're in a rough season right now. But you'll get on the other side of it. All right, we're getting ready to come back from break. Welcome back in to the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios. It's the most incendiary show on the RADIO. It's the Clay Edwards Show here on WYAB, streaming worldwide and live. Live, I tell you, in stunning HD. Stunning HD. At SaveJXN on Facebook, YouTube, and X. And then at Clay Edwards Show on Rumble. This segment brought to you by our friends over at Core Wellness and Therapy right there off Highland Colony at the township in Ridgeland. Guys, I went by Saturday. I love going by on Saturdays, and I'm not in a rush. Now, I was kind of in a rush. As I say this, I was actually kind of in a rush because I was going over to Vicksburg to eat and see my boy Nick P., the best server in Mississippi, one of my favorite servers in Mississippi. Really anywhere. My boy Nick at 10 South Rooftop Bar. Nick P., shout out to Nick. And the team there at 10 South Rooftop taking care of your boy, holding me a table right there at the edge so I can see the river and all that. I appreciate that. Much love. But So I had to get over there by a certain time. So I say all that to say this. I was at Core Wellness and Therapy, and Miss Nurse Karen Sego was like, could I interest you in an IV hydration today? Because I was just going to go do red light therapy and the cryotherapy. And I love to do the leg compression, the lymphomic drainage massage. Guys, if y'all aren't doing that, it is so therapeutic. It's like 1,000 hands giving you a leg massage and through up your upper inner thighs and stuff where it's kind of ticklish and odd if somebody else touches you there. Put them massage boots on and just relax for like 30 minutes. I put the oxygen bar stuff on and I breathe in that 98% pure oxygen. I just get up. I'm feeling refreshed, recharged. This is not some hocus pocus scam stuff. This stuff works. Do your own independent research if you doubt me. But what absolutely works, 100%, no doubt about it, is getting the proper IV hydration, vitamins, nutrients in your body that you need via directly into your blood vessel. And I got a new hydration drip or IV, whatever you want to call it, that I'd never gotten before. And look, I'm a huge fan of these things. Dude, I have had unlimited energy. I have slept amazingly since Saturday. I mean, I've been so productive the last few days. It's been insane. Let me tell you the one I got. I got the Mega Metabolism. It's got B complex, amino acids, and vitamin B12. The description reads, this IV blend will help kickstart a healthier you by promoting the breakdown of fat, helping control your mood and appetite, decreasing body fatigue. And the description hit the nail on the head. I did a little bit of drinking Saturday night. Got back home, did a little drinking. Was up kind of late. Nothing heavy. I mean, not even nothing I would say would cause a hangover, but I drank a few Andy Gators. I drank like 3 Andy Gators when I got home Saturday night. And I actually had a little headache when I went to sleep. But, man, I woke up Sunday feeling refreshed, recharged, was good to go. And I credit. And I don't know if y'all follow me on social media, but I was posting and making fresh videos all day yesterday. I was just on it, son. I was at my couch on my laptop, just going. And it dawned on me, it's like, man, where did all this motivation come from? I was like, it's that dang IV I took. I text Miss Karen on a Sunday, Nurse Karen, and was like, I need more of that in my life. That was phenomenal. Check them out, Core Wellness and Therapy. See what they can offer for you. Go get that IV hydration. Especially guys, if you're working outside, girls, if you're working outside, you're doing a lot of sweating all the time, make sure you're staying hydrated. Make sure you're staying full of the nutrients and stuff your body needs. My car salesman people, you're out there wearing those wearing slacks and sometimes long sleeve shirts out there, covering your tattoos out on the lots. You're just hot. You're outside a lot. Man, make sure you're staying hydrated. Go get those IV therapies. It'll keep you fresh. It'll keep you motivated. It'll have you in a good mood when you're talking to customers. You won't feel all drained and tired and all that. Man, if I wish I'd known about this stuff when I was in the car business, I may would still be in the car business. Anyway, check them out. All right. What story do I want to hit? Let's talk about the greatest beer run in Black history. Man. Oh, man. It was a B-double-E-double-R-U-N. This man said, hold my beer. Then he remembered he didn't have one. It happened up in Memphis, Tennessee. Clay, why are you calling it Tennessee? It's Tennessee. It's a black thing. You wouldn't understand. See, Memphis is Memphis. It's like Jackson. It's very heavily Democrat. They make a lot of bad decisions up there. Tennessee is called Tennessee because kilos of cocaine are 10G apiece. So Yo Gotti, back in the day, named it Memphis, Tennessee. See? Get it? Tennessee, but Tennessee? Now you up on hood culture. See why it's so rotten? They nicknamed their cities after the dope prices. I don't know why y'all talk about the culture. The culture's not rotten. You're a racist. You literally named your city Tennessee. Anyway, a Memphis, Tennessee man shoots wife then drives her to hospital, but stops for beer along the way, says the Popos. Oh, man. Not all heroes wear capes. A man in Memphis, this is from the New York Post, a man in Memphis shot his wife in the gut and then drove her to the hospital, but stopped to pick up a beer along the way, according to local officials. DeCarlo, only got 3 vials, but it's definitely 4-vial behavior. DeCarlo Pitchford, 51, clearly fed up. He's like, screw it. I'm shooting her. I'm getting a beer, and I'm going to jail, and I ain't got to put up with her crap no more. DeCarlo Pitchford, 51, pulled the gun on his wife when they got into an argument on July 19th at their Tennessee home after the woman threatened to leave him, Law and Crime reported. Quote, I told you to stop playing with me, he allegedly said before pulling the trigger on his Ruger handgun. Pitchford popped one 9mm slug into the abdomen of his wife and then played the role of dutiful husband by driving her to the hospital. But along the way, he decided to stop and get a beer. Now, officials have not said how long he stopped, but he was taking her to the university. No, I'm sorry. He was taking her to the Methodist University Hospital in his Dodge Ram. Full stop. But black folks, y'all love y'all's Dodges, don't you? This man out here making black history in a Dodge. Because, of course, like the only thing that would have made this more accurate is if it had been a Dodge Charger. But I digress. Anyway, he says he didn't know the gun was going to shoot. He thought it was, what did he say here? He just, Pitchford claimed to police that he thought the gun was jammed and fired it accidentally. But the victim stated the shooting was intentional, according to the report. He has been charged with attempted murder in the second degree, domestic assault, and, of course, being a felon in possession of a firearm, as well as theft of property. I wonder what he stole. Was it the truck, maybe? Anyway, I like that he thought the gun was jammed, so he still shot at her. Like, it's jammed. I'm just playing. Like, I thought the gun was jammed. I don't know that pulling the trigger on a jammed gun is a good defense. I thought it was jammed, so I still tried to pull the trigger. Like, I would think you could accomplish the same fear tactic by just, pointing the gun. But you actually pull the trigger. DeCarlo Pitchford makes black history on July 19th with the most epic beer run in history. Man. How tired of your wife are you when you decide to shoot her, but on the way to the hospital, you stop to get a beer? I know I ain't supposed to laugh. It's domestic violence. A woman got shot. All that's terrible. Yes, I know. That's bad. It's terrible. And he's going to go to jail for a long time, most likely. Well, this is Shelby County, Tennessee. It's kind of like Hinds County, Jackson. They got a whole DA there. Not a half a DA. Not a 33 1/3 DA. A whole DA there in Shelby County. I follow some crime reporters. There's a radio station up in Memphis that's a lot like WYAB. A couple white guys, black guy that report on all the Democrat death culture up there. I know they talk a lot about the DA there being terrible. It's one of the reasons why Memphis is in the shape it's in. But hey, that is wild, man. My computer's froze up, so I'm just kind of winging it right now. I'm like a host. I'm like a Cardi B at a Kamala Harris rally, and the teleprompter has froze up. I don't know what else to say. I'm just talking. I know what we're going to talk about, though. We're going to get into Trump sending in the National Guard and what all Trump can do to save D.C. as soon as my computer unfreezes. We're going to talk about school choice because I'm not letting it go. I'm not letting it go. I got word a minute ago that they're trying to sneak the school choice bill in with a teacher pay raise bill. So anybody that, well, if you vote against this, you're voting against the pay raise for the teachers. Teachers, public school teachers, I know y'all are against school choice. You know, I'm going to need y'all to fall on the sword here. Say, no, we don't need a raise. They're going to try to, that's dirty. That's dirty. It's like Michael Guest always voting for abortion because they lumped it in with military spending bills and then omnibus bills. And he's always saying, you ain't going to be able to say that I didn't vote for military, that I didn't vote to fund the military. No, but just kill babies. Talking about Planned Parenthood funding, they would lump it in them omnibus bills. And I'm just kind of busting Mike's balls a little bit there. I really don't fault him for that. But the same energy. Same energy. Let's see here. What else we got? Oh, yeah, I definitely want to get into AI and the swatting calls into the Rankin County Sheriff's Department and possibly even the WNBA and the green dildos. Let's take a break. This is what happens when y'all leave me up to my own devices around here. I mean, the green dildo story is gripping the nation. Who is the man? We have a photo of the man that there's a full bolo out for. Surprised the FBI hadn't gotten involved. It's a hate crime. He threw a green dildo at me. Bunch of them running around there trying to catch it. Like the hibachi chef throwing shrimp in their mouth. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Pretty sure I wasn't allowed to say that on the radio. Welcome back in to the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi Studios. This segment brought to you by our friends over at McBee's Bar and Grill right there on Lake Harbor Drive in Ridgeland, Mississippi. Buzzing the res since 1982. The last Gen X dive bar in central Mississippi. In Ridgeland, anyway. I'm determined to attach dive bar to this place. I'm determined to. Because it's like the highest compliment I can give a place is calling them a dive bar. Today's lunch, I don't have to look at the menu. I do have it here right here, though. Today's plate lunch of the day is my favorite, chicken spaghetti. Swing by there, check it out. About to be, well, it is football season. It's preseason. They got all the games on, the big TVs, inside and outside. If you haven't been by McBee's in a while, did you know they have a huge patio outside with a big stage? It's all covered. It's screened in. It's got fans. It's got heaters when needed. They've got the cool fans blowing. It's very tolerable out there, even in the hottest of days. The patio there is beyond tolerable, and when it cools off just a little bit outside, it's perfect. Swing by there today. There's TVs all outside. You can't turn your head. There's not a bad seat in the house if you're looking for a TV to watch at McBee's. All the sports action, happy hour, awesome staff. Put them up against anybody pound for pound. Great food, good times, buzzing the res since 1982. McBee's Bar and Grill. Live entertainment, I want to say just about every night. Check their Facebook page. Follow them there, McBee's Bar and Grill, for a full lineup of who's playing when. Good times. McBee's, see you at lunch today. All right. What story did I want to start with? Oh, yes, breaking news. I'm still waiting on the Trump press conference. But I've been telling y'all about Democrat death culture. I've been telling y'all about culture rot. It ain't just Jackson. It's all these predominantly black cities. Washington, D.C. being no worse. I mean, look, stereotypes are earned, not given. There's a massive problem in these majority black cities. It just is, man. And until you address it, and until you have the nads to actually say what I just said out loud, you're not going to address the problem. You're going to tiptoe around it. You're going to spend another 4 years, 8 years, 12 years, 16, 20 years tiptoeing around it because there's a group of white folks who are so scared of being called a racist, they'll stick their head in the sand and ignore the problems when they can be easily fixed. Y'all keep listening to the people causing the problems, trying to tell you how to fix the problem. I don't need the people causing the problem to tell me how to cure the problem. That's like asking AIDS how to cure AIDS. AIDS has a vested interest in you not knowing how to cure it. Democrat death culture has a vested interest in you not knowing how to cure it. I've been saying this forever. They don't want these cities saved. There's no money. There's no long-term money in the cure. The money is in the medicine. It's in the fight to save it. It's not in actually saving it. Why do you think we don't have a cure for cancer? Why do you think there's a war on drugs? Money. It's about money. They don't care about the people. They could end this war on drugs tomorrow if they wanted to. They don't want to end the war on drugs. Now, I'm not a scientist, but something tells me that we could find a cure for cancer tomorrow if we wanted to. But what would you do with all them big buildings you done built? What would you do with all the funding? Anyway, not to go down a rabbit hole, let's stay on topic. The money to these Democrat politicians is in selling the hope of fixing the problem. It's not actually fixing the problem. It's selling the dream of fixing the problem. With all the little groups, their NGOs, their foundations, their 501c3s, their churches, their building funds, their fundraisers, their grants, all that. If you actually fixed all this crap, what would they, in their minds, what would they possibly do? They don't want it fixed. So this is from Breaking 911. President Trump is considering sending in up to 1,000 National Guard troops to D.C. ahead of his Monday press conference on crime, while federal agents, including ICE and Border Protection, have already been deployed to the city, Secretary Kristi Noem has confirmed. This gets me excited. So I got two updates here from Fox News on my phone. An hour ago, Trump slams D.C. crime surge, vows crackdown, and more. That's just the top headlines thing. And then breaking news, 29 minutes ago, Trump considers deploying National Guard troops in D.C., officials say. I mean, look, I've been saying it for a while. Deploy the National Guard to Jackson. I mean, you've seen what the Capitol Police have done. They have fixed their part of Jackson for the most part. I mean, you're going to have miscellaneous crime because there's just idiots are born every day, and it is what it is. It's just, how do you control your idiots? How do you control the animals? Because these are animals that are out here running and committing these crimes like they're doing. These are animals. They have no sense of, I mean, it's just like an animal. They just react. There's no sense of, I shouldn't have done that. Now there's consequences and repercussions for my actions. It's just instantaneous. Whatever the feeling in the moment is, bam, it's what I do. What they do. That is like an animal. There's a major problem in these cities. And the only way you're going to begin to put the paste back in the tube is with blunt force trauma. We have to get control back of our major cities. The Guns of Gear text line is 769-241-1944. Mazda Jackson phone line 601-879-0002. What should be done to begin to wrangle this death culture back into a manageable pen? Seriously, that is the question. Serious question. What should Trump do in D.C.? What should be done in Jackson, Mississippi to begin to get control of this death culture, this rotten culture that has spawned out of these urban black communities? First and foremost, you gotta quit being scared of being called a racist for addressing, even just acknowledging that there's a particular problem in these communities. These white politicians have got to drop their nads and admit that there's a problem. And see, these are the same kids from these areas that they want to allow to just nilly-willy walk right on into Rankin and Madison County and Clinton schools and Byram schools without living there with their school choice nonsense. Because they are so dead set on profiting off of these other schools, these private schools, these charter schools, that they are willing to sacrifice the public schools in the suburbs to get what they want. That's what it's all about. It's all about money. It ain't about the kids. Stop that. If it was about the kids, you'd fix JPS. If it was about the kids, we'd send in the National Guard into these big blue cities. It's about y'all's money. All you gotta do is follow the money. All these conservative think tanks. I mean, Jason White is having or just had a dinner over some very wealthy people's home. $20,000 a table is one of the packages. Start following that money. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I want to know what y'all think. Real talk, text in. Drop a comment if you're watching on the live stream. Guns of Gear text line, 769-241-1944. Clay@WYAB.com. Mazda Jackson phone line, 601-879-0002. How do you fix it? How do you mitigate it? I'm back. I was running my mouth in the hallway. I do apologize. I get fired up around here. All right, this is the Clay Edwards Show. We are live here in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi Studios. Coming up in hour 3, I've been in the background. I've been efforting somebody to come in here and chop it up with me for the third hour, so I don't have to do 3 hours solo. And we have secured a guest, but it's a surprise. You'll have to stay tuned to the 9 o'clock to find out. 9:07. See who I'm going to have in here. I will tell you this: we'll be debating school choice. He is for it. I am not. We'll play that out and see how that goes. But this segment brought to you by our good friends at Martin's Downtown and Martin's Livingston. First and foremost, the Blue Plate special of the day is fried or grilled pork chop at either location. So first and foremost, go by there. And hey, look, don't forget, out there at Martin's in Livingston, they have a brand new live music venue. Right there. It's the chapel. So make sure you're following Livingston Live or the Martin's Livingston page. I'm sure they'll update stuff there too. But Livingston Live on Facebook, and keep up with all the great concerts they've got coming to Livingston Live, the new live music venue right there at Livingston in Madison County. Here's a few other things coming up this weekend at the downtown location. You've got Max Stalling and Heather Stalling with the Lovett brothers. That's August 15th. I believe that is that Friday night, the 15th? Yeah, Friday night, the 15th. Max and Heather Stalling are a singer-songwriter duo based out of Dallas, Texas. That looks like going to be a big old time. Let's see here. Make sure I'm just not missing anything. You've got the Blues Old Stand coming up on August. Well, that was already there. I'm sorry. So check out Martin's Downtown JXN for all the upcoming events. Coming up September 6th, you've got the Fish tribute band, Foosh. They're a New Orleans tribute to Fish. So if you're into jam bands, you like Fish, great tribute band coming to Martin's. And then Nash Hamilton with special guest Jackson James will take the stage at Martin's Downtown on September 12th. Nash is a singer-songwriter based out of Nashville, Tennessee. So good stuff, man. They stay on top of the booking there, man. They do such a good job. Shout out to Rybolt Productions. He's just the best in the game right now on booking original music. And I don't think anybody's doing it better than Rybolt Productions. And frankly, he's been Booker of the Year around here for years now. But y'all check out Martin's Downtown and Livingston for lunch, dinner, sports. They got it all. I really enjoyed my Friday night at Martin's. Me and Michael Wimberly and his brother-in-law met down there. Shout out to the Southern Sky Brands folks for getting us in. But we got to see Jim Belushi live there at Martin's Friday night. I didn't stay for Jim, but I did stay for the opening act, the Bailey Brothers. I was tired. I just wanted to get home. And, man, I barely made it back in the house. And I hit my bed, and I slept for 10 hours. Good sleep. But, man, I had such a good time. It was packed. There was probably 400 and some odd people there. Great time. It was safe. No vehicles got broke into. Heavy law enforcement presence in a good way. It was just a good time. No drama, no fighting. I didn't expect that anyway. Not at Martin's, not with that crowd, but still, just acknowledge the fact that it was safe. There was no drama. It was quick to get drinks. Like, you didn't have to wait for a drink. I got my picture made with Jim Belushi. It was just a good time, man. I had a blast. So looking forward to getting back down there for a concert here soon. They've got a Def Leppard and Ozzy tribute coming in on a Sunday here soon. We'll start promoting that as it gets a little bit closer. You will definitely find me down there on that day. All right, let's jump back into it, shall we? Let's jump back into it. I tell you what, I know what I want to hit. I want to hit this AI calling in swatting calls in Rankin County. This is dangerous. This is going to get somebody killed. And I hope we can find out who's doing this and get them arrested, because AI just ain't doing this all willy-nilly on its own. Somebody is using AI, creating these voices and calling these 911 people, these 911 officers, and having this stuff done. I was hoping to play a video, but we'll just... Yeah, it's saying a fake hostage situation. Man, this computer. One day, I'm just going to throw it out the window. It just freezes up and I can't. I know we're not supposed to talk about technical difficulties, but when the computer froze up and I can't even read it, I have no choice. So anyway, here we go. On Tuesday, August 5th, the Rankin County Sheriff's Office received a call claiming someone had been shot and two others were being held hostage at a Brandon home. See, Rankin County ain't the place to be messing with that kind of nonsense. I mean, those guys will come in guns blazing, and I mean that as a compliment. Thank goodness level heads figured this out. Let's continue reading. When a large police presence arrived at the scene, they quickly realized the call was fake and residents had no idea why the police were called. According to law enforcement, the call was created by an anonymous caller using a voice generated by artificial intelligence. Quote, they make contact with the occupants of the house and had them step out. I believe it was 3 females that were on the scene, and that was it, said Rankin County Undersheriff Barry Vaughn. So obviously it was a complete fabrication, completely unnecessary, malicious act done by somebody. No one at the scene had called. Vaughn said that this is the first AI swatting call Rankin County has received. If you use it the right way, it can be used for a lot quicker research, a lot quicker answers. But like anything else, people are going to find ways to use it nefariously, Vaughn explained. And sometimes they think it's funny, they think it's cute, They may not understand what they're really doing and how they're affecting these people's lives and some of the law enforcement's lives. Vaughn said he believes that as AI technology continues to advance, law enforcement has to be able to advance alongside it. Meanwhile, authorities are still working to track down where the AI-generated call came from. Quote, "We're definitely going to find out who it was, and when we do, even if they're not in this state, we're going to go pick them up and bring them back here to answer to it," Vaughn said. That is something that they have to be held accountable for. So this has been going on for a while now around the country. If you listen to a lot of conservative podcasters, streamers, people who dive into the culture war that aren't on the left, people who have spoken out against the LGBTQ agenda, the trans agenda, people who have spoken out against school choice. These people have been being swatted by these calls to their law enforcement in their communities and saying that there's a hostage situation at their house or that they've shot their spouse. And I mean, it's all kind of crazy stuff. It happened to Tim Pool a bunch. It's happened to Jeremy with the quartering. I could go on and on and on with these guys that I follow that it's happened to. And it's going to get somebody killed. I mean, Jeremy from the quartering has talked about it and how him and his wife were pulled out of their house, put on their knees, hands on the back of their head, guns drawn on them. And it's happened multiple times. And apparently the law enforcement there don't quite understand what a swatting call is. They're up in Iowa somewhere. I'm just like, it's going to get somebody killed. And then the cops are going to have blood on their hands. And then whoever did it, who knows? You know, they haven't been catching a lot of these people. I think they did catch one. Some kid out in L.A., I think, was doing it. Thought it was funny. You know, now he's going to jail for a long time. Let's see here. We got 3 minutes here for the top of the hour break. I'm going to Google something real quick. I want to see something here. I'm just going to find out if did they catch their swatter. Dang. Did they arrest Tim Pool and the quartering's swatter? Sorry. Yeah, I know I always apologize when I have to Google stuff in live time. I know it sounds unprofessional. All right, here we go. It says, reports confirmed that Tim Pool was swatted in January 22 while live on air. I was watching that episode. It was crazy. At his Maryland residence. During the incident, Maryland police responded to a false report of a shooting and suicide attempt at Pool's home. Police confirmed no one was harmed. However, there is no readily available information linking the swatting of Tim Pool to the arrest of anyone specifically for that incident. It's important to note that a separate case involving a serial swatter from Los Angeles was reported in February of 25. This individual pled guilty to making several false threats, including bomb threats and threats of violence against various locations, including a public high school, a historically black college, and a police department. That case was not related to the swatting of Tim Pool or the quartering's Jeremy Hambly. Okay, so that's interesting. So I meant to bring this up on the show. Do y'all remember a couple years ago, maybe it was last year, when all the historically black colleges were getting the bomb threats? I think that's this guy that was doing that. They never came out and did a follow-up story here about it. But remember, JSU and several other historically black colleges throughout the South all closed campus that day because they had gotten these bomb threats. And everybody was like, oh, it's racism. Racism strikes again. The supremacy strikes back. The supremacy is calling in bomb threats. And I got on this very radio show right here and I said, it ain't the damn supremacy. If anything, and apparently I may have gotten it wrong too. I'll be the first to admit, hey, I got something wrong here, but I was closer to being right than they were. I said, if anything, it's somebody black doing it so they can pretend that the supremacy was doing it. It's like the fake racism claims. Happens all the time. It happens way more than real racism. Because, see, there's not enough real racism to go around. So they do the fake racisms. Anyway. So the guy was arrested. And I'm curious, was it the same guy that did these? For our real journalist out there listening, this would be a great follow-up story for you guys to cover. I would love to know if this was the same guy that called in the threats to JSU, because the FBI did take lead on that case, my understanding. So I would love to know, did the JSU bomb threat, did the historically black college bomb threat swatter fella get caught? Is this the same guy? All right, don't go anywhere. We got another short segment, and then we got hour three with a special surprise guest here on the Clay Edwards Show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. Let's go straight to the phone line here, the Mazda Jackson phone line. Hey, you're on there. You got about 1 minute.
Hey, bro, I was going to give you a little lead-in to your guest coming in. You made the statement the other day about school choice. If you don't like your district, move. You remember that?
Yes.
Oh, brother, they're moving. Let me tell you what about Mary Hawkins. At least she got it right. The Madison mayor, with the requirements of land purchase, size of house, there are no cheap apartments to be had in Madison, but Flowood hadn't figured that out. Oh, they're moving, cuz. They're here. They're here.
Oh yeah. Well, and I don't look, and I don't have a problem. Well, I have a problem with it, but that's life. You know, they can move, but we shouldn't be removing that barrier of entry. Just to hell with districts. Just go wherever you want to go. That ain't how life works. That ain't how it's ever worked, and that ain't how it's going to work on my watch. I'm going down swinging on this one.
Quick question. What do you think the passing grade is now in Rankin County?
I don't know.
If you had to guess.
C? Oh, you just mean like the number? Ain't it like 62 or 63? They've lowered it a good bit.
60.
All right, brother. We're done.
When you were in school, cuz?
70.
Yeah, exactly. So we've already lowered the bar in acceptance of this new population. I'm just telling you, bro. They here.
Yep. All right, brother. Be good. Y'all don't go anywhere. We got a whole nother hour to go. Be back in 7 minutes with a surprise guest. Don't go anywhere. Boom, shakalaka boom. It's hour 3 of the Clay Edwards Show here live on WYAB, streaming worldwide in stunning HD at Save JXN on Facebook, X, and YouTube. Streaming at Clay Edwards Show on Rumble. That's where you can find my friend sitting across from me here. He streams his show to Rumble, Facebook. Where Andrew? Well, first off, just let me introduce him. We got Andrew Gosser, host of the all-new Andrew Gosser Show here on WYAB from 10 to noon every day, or every Monday through Friday. Andrew's filled in for me a time or two as well. Andrew, thank you, brother.
Good morning, my man. Good morning, my man. You've got the Exxon Valdez super tanker right there, man.
So, you're supposed to drink X amount of water a day. I got slap damn tired of going through a bunch of plastic bottled waters, and this is like a healthy plastic, too. It's like it doesn't leak into you like some of these other plastics. So, I started filling it out. I decided to decorate it last night. I put a couple of stickers on it, and I got some stickers from my friends at Southern Sky. I put them on the back. This is what happens when you take your Ambien.
Yep.
And you don't go to sleep. You decorate things or you hide things from yourself. You ask people to be on your show Tuesday when you mean Monday. And Andrew, I had asked Andrew if he would do my show with me today, but I asked him Tuesday instead of today.
Yep.
As I walk out, there's, all right, you ready to come on in? He was like, today? I said Tuesday, didn't I? I was like, damn Ambien.
You know what? Ambien can be a dangerous thing, but for people who need it, it's a good thing. I got my little plastic jug here. This is circa 2008 Afghanistan vintage.
Nice.
Still got the same one, man, and got some pear juice in it today.
I like it. Yeah. Well, Andrew, tell people other than WYAB how they can find your show.
I have a website, andrewgosser.com. It's just a way to keep and communicate with people.
Gasser.
Yep, Gasser. I'm on X at Andrew Gasser, ANDREWGASSER. It's spelled Gasser. It's pronounced Gosser, but it's all good. I just want people to find me. And then I have a YouTube page and also that nasty social media platform that begins with a F, but I don't like saying the name, but it's Facebook. And that's where I'm at. I'm usually running around doing stuff when I'm not on the farm doing the sheep thing.
I like it. Well, look, Andrew's a hell of a patriot. He's a former or recovering politician, as he likes to say.
That's a fact.
He's a veteran, a bit of a wounded warrior of sorts, and catches hell over there and has to come back and live with it. And man, he hate that what they've done to our veterans there. But we appreciate you, everything you've done for this country, and you're a hell of a man. I'm glad to have you on our team here at the radio station and in real life. So that's Andrew. If you don't know, he'll be coming on right as soon as I get off today.
That's right.
We'll be swapping seats here at 10 o'clock. So glad to have Andrew as part of the family. But look, Andrew came to me one day. He said, Clay, I'm pro-choice. I'm letting you know I'm pro-choice. And I was like, pro what? He said, pro-choice. I'm pro-school choice. And I think I shocked him. I said, I'm not. And explained real quick why I wasn't. And I stand by my stance, and I will not change from my stance. But look, Andrew, I'm pro everything about it except public school to public school. And I think that you are going to start deteriorating community pride, civic pride. People moved, and it may work in a lot of places, but everywhere else ain't attached to a Jackson, Mississippi.
I agree with that. And what I would also say is that when people I'm obviously pro-choice, school choice, but I'm also not in the fact of, okay, we've got a school district in Rankin County. It's a smaller school district. It's just knocking it out of the park. And now they're going to go hire 5 new teachers and 7 new administrators to bring more people from Jackson in. If a school this is just my opinion and the research that I've done on it. So if there's a school district out there and they've got 2 open seats, and they want to bring a different public school kid wants to go into that seat, I'm okay with that. But the minute that they completely start changing the way the school district operates to try to get some of that Jackson money per se, I'm not for that. I think school choice, every parent, father, mother, that's like one of the biggest decisions they're going to make is where their kid goes to school. Hey, if you don't want to send them to Jackson Public School and that money that you're getting from the government to cover your kid's education will cover tuition at a Jackson Academy or a Clinton Christian Academy or a Tri-County Academy, something like that.
Rebel, Hillcrest,
yep.
Wherever. Tri-County.
Yep. Let's go with that. But if you're going to change how the public school system operates just to get some of that Jackson money, I think that is a recipe for disaster. And I've had to think about that hard because there are so many kids, but no fault of their own. We want them in the world, obviously, but they're getting stuck into a system. There's got to be a way to get it out there without necessarily putting all that burden on the other school districts around. It's up to the parents to do that. I mean, my mom worked 3 jobs to get us through. And, but that was the sacrifice she wanted to make sure that we had a good education.
Yeah, so I got a text here on the Guns and Gear text line. It says, I think you take complete control. I asked people kind of how to save Jackson and some other stuff. And because I think you take complete control of the schools and put qualified people in charge who can teach reading and math. You will have to reward people well. You'll have to pay people well to do it. But it starts there. Would have to be done with major security, and a lot of problems start with education. That's the thing. Look, man. It's all about culture. It's all about community. People moved away from Jackson started moving away from Jackson 30 years ago because conservatives didn't want to live under Democrat reign. And it wasn't white flight. It wasn't racism. It was conservatives didn't want to live under Democrat control and the way Democrats like to do stuff, very foolishly, recklessly, selfishly. And look, man, yes, are there some good kids and good families in Jackson? Absolutely. I'd be lying if I said otherwise. We know there's some good people in Jackson. Problem is, go take a tour through any JPS school. Go talk to any JPS teacher, and they will tell you what a nightmare it is. And I do not want to open up Pandora's box and allow that culture, this Democrat death culture, into Rankin and Madison County schools. I don't want to do it. Into Clinton. I mean, ask Clinton. Here's the other thing. You cannot find any conservatives, frankly, or Democrats. Democrats are against this too. It's one of the few things we're against it for different reasons. Democrats are against it because of their love affair with the public school system and control. Conservatives who moved out of Jackson are against it because they don't want the people who destroyed their city, the kids of these people, to come over and bring that culture with them.
And it does, too.
And it does. It absolutely does.
Because even in private schools, there is an element of that where we've seen where that culture comes in and it doesn't necessarily mesh with the Christian upbringing that we're trying to provide for the school. It happens all the time. There's still all sorts of things that can happen. And it's just not a Jackson problem. This is any major liberal mega metropolis hellhole. I mean, they're all the same. Chicago, L.A., San Francisco, New York, Boston. We could go on and on and on. It comes back down, and you've really hit it on the head, and we've been talking about it too a lot, is the culture that it brings. And what are we doing on the weekends? Are we living it up, partying out? Are we hanging out with our parents? Are we working? My daughter works on the weekends. She's got to move chickens and sheep. I mean, that her type of environment is very different than the environment that's in Jackson. And it's definitely an issue where if we don't actually start talking real hard facts about the culture, the crime culture, the degradation of women, and it's just what it is. I mean, I can sit here and spit lyrics. I mean, not proud of it, but, growing up listening to NWA, Eazy-E,
sure.
Public Enemy, Too Short, that has a lasting impact on us, and we've got to figure out a way how to overcome that. And, we can get on the radio and we can talk about it and identify it, but until we actually start seeing real solutions on how to actually fix that. And I'm not sure we're going to get to even close to that today, but that conversation has to start. And it can't necessarily start outside of Jackson and bring it in. It's got to start inside Jackson and then flow out that way.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just telling you, man, for example, it's bad enough that they can just up through the welfare program and HUD program, they can just up and move into communities like Flowood and Brandon and whatnot, and that's what they're doing, trying to further segregate these communities, or desegregate, should I say, force desegregate based on economics and money and stuff like that. Now, I'm not talking about race. It's like they're trying to move people who haven't earned it around people who have. They're trying to force that, and I have a serious problem with forcing lower earners around people who have done the right thing, who have paid the cost to be the boss, so to say. Mm-hmm. And you're sitting here and saying, well, just because you check off a few of these boxes because of your race or female, black woman, whatever, single mama 3, well, you get X amount of money, we're going to put you out here in Flowood.
We did that in Illinois under the Affordable Housing Act. Mm-hmm. We put in a bunch of apartments inside a neighborhood that was single-family homes, half-acre lots. Now, that's probably small for a lot of places around here, but
we have those here too.
But for where we were, those were big lots, and it was really expensive. And they're all now. I was just talking to a buddy of mine. He's still representing up there in Illinois, and they're having a terrible crime problem, and it started right. They can trace it back to the affordable housing and put in all those apartments, but then the property values started going down around those apartments, mm-hmm. and it's just
so it's cancer.
It is, and I want people to have the American dream, but when I look at affordable housing, like we just got this massive new affordable housing grant in Jackson, it's going to provide people a place to where they're going to be able to live, but they're never going to be able to own, and it's going to keep them entrapped in a cycle where they're going to have to be mother may I to the government every day, and they're never going to have that chance to go out and be an entrepreneur, to go out, a chance to start a business, or to go do something different, because that's all they're ever going to know. And until we break that cycle, we're going to have a heck of a time trying to bring Jackson back to life, let alone completely have it bustling like it was back in the 80s and 70s.
Yeah, I don't mind saying this. Poor people need to figure it out. Immigrants can show up to this country without 2 nickels to rub together, but you people born here, basically born on third base compared to these immigrants that show up here with nothing. Y'all can't figure it out. You want to holler generational poverty. My give a damn is busted, Andrew. I don't accept excuses from these people. I don't think we should have to continue to assist putting them on third base to watch them figure out a way to screw up sliding home every single time. They screw up sliding home because they didn't earn it. They did not earn it. They need to get to first base, understand the foundation that it took to get there, the foundation it takes to get to second base, to third base, and then home. It took me to my 40s to get my crap together, to be able to finally afford to get back out into Rankin County and have the life that I have. And it's still a struggle to do it. And I don't think I'm just going to be honest, it ain't fair, and it ain't supposed to be fair. Life ain't fair. Life's about paying the dues, working hard, and doing what you're supposed to do. And the pro-school choice people, the people that run these conservative think tanks of the world, your Empower Mississippi, your Americans for Prosperity, all these groups, life ain't fair. And you say it's about parental choice. That's why they're making this a Republican thing. Because it's about choice, man. Clay, it's about parental choice. You have a choice. You have a choice where you live. Therefore, you have a choice where your kid goes to school. Nobody's forcing you to stay where you're at. Make some tough life choices like the people who did before you when they had to sell their property in Jackson and move out, take a loss for it and move, or whatever they had to do to move to a community that tightens up the belt buckle. You got to make some life choices. Maybe you don't get your Vendi latte every day. Maybe you don't get to have your 5-hour energy every day. Maybe you actually got to cook at home every night instead of go out to eat. You got to make some tough choices. Maybe you don't get to wear that Gucci. Maybe you got to drive a busted ass Nissan Altima instead of a Benz or whatever. You make choices. Life is full of them. Maybe you made some bad ones and it's put you in a bad situation. That's life. It sucks. Make some tougher choices. Figure a way out.
That's so true. When I was growing up, I didn't have my own car. I had to walk, and I was happy when I got my 10-speed bicycle. Looking at it even further, if you look at the other immigrants who have come to this nation legally, whether it be Hispanics, the Indians, whoever.
Hell, even the ones who are coming here illegally now are finding a way to do better than the people who were born here that we keep letting live off the government tit. I mean, look at the guy who we're about to kick out of here that opened up a Trump burger place. This guy figured out how to show up here with nothing, and has opened up a restaurant. Now we're going to kick him out. Hell, can we not kick out a couple thugs and keep this guy?
Well, it's
at least he works.
It's the work ethic, and I had it from an early age, but my life choices reinforce that. The military, you either have a work ethic or you're out of there.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things where the harder you work, it's not going to say it's going to pay off overnight. And unfortunately, in the social media society, everybody wants to be an influencer. And I use you as a perfect example. People don't realize how much work you're putting in after I walk in and come on the air. And it's 12 o'clock, I'm coming off the air, and you're still in that office cutting up videos and doing the shorts and all that stuff. I mean, it's work.
It's a 15-year overnight success.
There you go.
Let's take a break. We got Andrew Gosser, host of the Andrew Gosser Show, right here on WYAB, 10 to noon every day here in the studio. Sounds like I'm changing his mind about school choice. I'm kidding. We'll be right back here on WYAB. Back into the Clay Edwards Show here live from the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios. Guys, get out and see my friends for lunch today. They're at El Portillo Mexican Grill and Cantina right there on Highway 80 right there on Highway 80 next to Bops, right in front of Crossgate Subdivision, across from City Hall, across from the Brandon Police Department and the library right there on Highway 80. You know where it is. And if you're in Brandon, El Portillo, best Mexican grill and cantina in Brandon. Then, hey, you ain't going to be over in Brandon, Rankin County? We still got you covered. How about right over there in Dogwood, right over by Burgers Blues Barbecue? That's right. There's an El Portillo right there in front of Dick's Sporting Goods as well. It's the OG location. I think it's the older location. I'm not sure now that I say that out loud. Either way, it's there. It's great. It is the bigger location. I know that. They got a huge patio. They got a private bar area that's separate from the dining area, just like the Brandon location, which is what I love about it. I can go in there. I can sit down at the bar. I don't have to hear y'all screaming little badass kids and none of that stuff. I can have my cold beer, my salsa, my chips, my cheese, my fajitas. I can just woosah. And then vice versa. If you got your little loud-ass kids and you want to sit down somewhere, you don't want to see all the drunks over there, you can do the same. I'm playing around. Y'all know that, right? I love it. Either way, go enjoy some fajitas, some tacos, some of the best queso. I love their salsa. Man, their salsa is so good. They got frozen drinks. They got karaoke. They got it all right there. El Portillo Grill and Cantina, Flowood and Brandon, locally owned, locally operated. Immigrants who have done well for themselves right here in America. the legal way, the right way, the hard way, you know. And like I said, I just look at folks like that, and it just aggravates me to no end. Well, they make me smile to no end, but then it aggravates me to no end. By the way, the ad read is over. Now back to the politics. It aggravates the hell out of me that there's people right here in this country who can't pull their mouth off and run the government tit long enough to actually get up, go to work, pull their pants up, learn how to talk, and be a productive member of society without playing the oppression Olympics. And we're just sitting here, we're telling people that it doesn't matter your situation. No matter how bad your life is, we're going to give you such a hand up that's going to teach you early on that you're going to get your way no matter what without having to earn it. And that's how I feel about this school choice stuff. We're going to give people their way no matter what. It's going to destroy communities. And I'm not being hyperbole here. It is going to destroy communities when you start there's a reason why different cultures and different tribes have been separate for years. We want our kids around this. You can have your kids like this. You can raise your kids like this. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with segregating based on cultural differences. It ain't got to be about race. You can segregate on cultural differences. We chose to live out here because we want our kids to be around us, like-minded individuals. You choose to live over here because you want your kids to be around like-minded individuals, so on and so forth, where work ethic comes before anything. And you're going to deteriorate that. I also know how hood ghetto culture works. I was heavily influenced by it growing up. I'm telling you, you start letting these kids in from these cities like Jackson, or I'm not going to quit saying like, you start letting Jackson kids into these suburban communities and they bring that culture with them. They don't leave the Jackson and Jackson. It's going to turn into a pissing contest between these young boys and stuff out here who are going to say, oh, you think you hard because you from Jackson? I'll show you Rankin County's harder. And it's going to get into a pissing match on who can be the hardest. And people think, Clay, that's just hyperbole. That's just what ifs. You're just, you can't quantify that. You're right. I can't. But I can show you the last 3 high school students that got killed in Rankin County were all Northwest Rankin. We're all black. We're all just moved there from Jackson. All 3 of them, 2 brothers, and then the one who thought it would be a good idea to shoot a cop on a traffic stop and got himself killed in front of the Applebee's. All 3 had been in the county for, I think, less than 1 year or 1 year. We're all 3 products of Northwest Rankin, and we're all 3 refusing to leave the Jackson and Jackson. So whether it's school choice or the government helping people move out here or whatever, that's the culture that you want to bring over here. That's the culture you want to have potentially influencing your children, or that your politicians, that Jason White and all these conservative think tanks whose kids all go to private school or homeschool, that's what they want to dump in on the public schools. And I don't think it's right, and I'm going to stand up against it.
It's interesting you bring that up because, we have 50 states in America, and each one is an individual experiment in representative republic and democracy. You could say the same thing about cities inside states. Jackson decides how they're going to operate. Clinton's going to decide how they're going to operate. Brandon's going to decide how they're going to operate. The thing is when you move into one of those places, you're moving there because you're liking that culture. Just like when somebody...
You're willing to assimilate when you get there.
Exactly. So like someone moving from Mexico into the United States, or moving, better yet, from Afghanistan into the United States. I know some Afghanis who, when they came here, they left all that Afghanistan stuff at the door, and they wrapped themselves in the red, white, and blue, and that's how they're going. You could juxtapose that to some of those people who came up to Mexico and were riding in L.A., and they're wrapping themselves in the Mexican flags, doing all that crazy stuff. That's got to be something that has to be accepted inside American culture itself, because as someone who's lived overseas and gone overseas, I know how good we have it. So many of these people, if we transplanted them out of Afghanistan or out of Jackson and put them into Kabul, Afghanistan, you'd see their reputation change real quick, real quick. But there still has to be, and this goes even to a bigger problem, Clay, is that this started in 1973, I think, is when the National Education Association and the Department of Education started. They completely screwed up our school systems because they started putting all these mandates from Washington, D.C., then they came to Jackson, and then it went out to everybody else. We've got to take our schools back so that we don't have to do all that LGBTQ stuff. We don't have to do all this crazy hypersexualization of our kids in the 4th, 5th grade. No, we got to get rid of all that. And that's what's driving a lot of this culture rot, too, along with, of course, social media. I mean, a kid gets 15 minutes of fame going, not even viral, just has like 10,000 views. And the next thing you know, I mean, their mind is just completely rewired and reprogrammed. And that's all they care about is that next dopamine hit on social media. And we can go on that. But there has to be a way where we can get kids out of that public school system in Jackson. And, you know, we've got charter schools. We've got private schools.
And I 100% support the other aspects of this. The charter school, taking that public money, the money following the kid, it can follow it to the private school. It can follow it to the charter school. It does not need to follow it public school to public school. That is where your communities and your civic pride is birthed, is in those public schools. And if you start doing that, why would a kid from Jackson give a damn about Brandon's culture? He's just going over there to play football or basketball or whatever. And that's the other thing. We're going to use sports to drive this, and it's going to be a disaster.
You know, Charles Barkley did an interview with a bunch of kids, and he was interviewing them. It's awesome. It's on YouTube. You can look it up. And he goes, how many of you all want to be doctors? And no, not one kid raised his hand. And he goes, how many of you want to be NBA players? And they all raised their hands. And he goes, how sad is this that everybody would rather be a basketball player than a doctor? Because that's all that culture sees is the limelights, the Charles Barkleys, the Michael Jordans, Walter Paytons, whoever. You know, they don't get to see all the hardworking doctors. I'm not going to say lawyers, but, you know, doctors, engineers, you know, blue-collar work, plumbers. Man, plumbers make big bucks.
And they're going to be making more HVAC. They're going to be making more and more and more. I have friends that make hundreds of $1,000s a year right now as HVAC people, and they can make millions if they can find people to help them. They knew how to do it.
Have that work ethic, that grit.
Yep. I mean, we need to be transferring kids in for HVAC classes, for shop classes, not to be coming in and playing football. And that's how they're going to try to sell it to these communities like a Brandon, for example. Brandon's been so close to winning a state title so many times the last decade. They've lost it more than any other schools won it in the last decade, and that's real talk. I believe I'm right about that. I'm almost positive I'm right about that. They've lost it more than any other schools won it. You know, they're going to be able to sell it. Guys, we're going to be able to get that one player. We'll get one good player away. If we get that one player from Jackson or from Provine or from Merwin, we get them over here. We're just that one good player away, and people are going to be, oh, yeah, I got to win. I want to win now at any cost.
It's not at any cost. The whole thing about it is
it is at any cost.
It's
at the cost of the culture that it's going to bring with it.
The culture, you're going to sacrifice your culture, your beliefs, your value systems to get that trophy. Mm-hmm. You think about it for 10 minutes, and then all of a sudden you're right back in that grind again. I mean, in life, you know, you've seen this, Clay. You're sitting there, you're working hard. You finally hit that goal. You enjoy it. You maybe celebrate one day, and then you're right back at it again. Yeah. And you're just going to continue to rip apart the culture that got you to where you really were in the first place.
I celebrated that 1,000th episode, and the next day it was at 0 again. We're at 37 today.
I have to go check and see how many. I think I'm at around 48. But the whole point of that, Clay, is that culture drives where you're going to be. Whether it's the police culture because you join the police force.
Well, every time a new coach gets hired or fired, let's use the sports analogy.
Okay.
Every time a new coach comes in somewhere, what's the first thing they talk about? We got to change the culture. We got to get rid of this losing culture, this thug culture, this culture. We got to change the culture. Every time somebody goes into a failing situation, you got to change the culture. Why are we allowing a failing culture to come into a working culture? That is injecting a positive culture with cancer.
You could also say, are you trying to allow people to get out of that failing culture who recognize it? Or are they trying to get out of that culture just to get one up so that they can get their kid into the football program, since we're using sports as an analogy? Mm-hmm. There are great kids out there.
Find a way to work hard enough to move. There's enough government programs out there right now that will take you under its wing and help move you right out of Jackson. The HUD and all that would prefer. I got friends that own rental properties all around the Tri-County area. It takes 6 weeks to get an approval for HUD in Jackson right now. It takes about 6 minutes to get that same application approved wherever they can in Rankin County. Make that make sense.
I easily, because there's already so much affordable housing and urban development inside Jackson, whereas in these places out in Rankin County, Madison County, Copiah County, where that culture, there isn't a lot of affordable housing because people don't want affordable housing out there. So as soon as they can get their claws into it, and I've watched this happen where I used to live, as soon as they could get it into one spot, it just starts popping up and it goes bigger, bigger, bigger. And it's a self-licking ice cream cone, dude. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
It is. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Andrew Gosser here on The Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back in to The Clay Edwards Show. Andrew had to leave to get ready for his show coming up here at 10 o'clock. And I wanted to go straight in to this Trump press conference on crime in D.C. Another example of culture rot in a great American city. They don't want to just let it in anywhere. Let's see what Trump's saying about how he's going to save D.C., just like Tate and the Capitol Police saved Jackson.
A while ago was shot waiting for his wife. He was in the car. They robbed his car. They shot him. They killed him like it was nothing to it. She was walking to the car. It's a horror show. This issue directly impacts the functioning of the federal government and is a threat to America, really. It's a threat to our country. We have other cities also that are bad, very bad. You look at Chicago, how bad it is. You look at Los Angeles, how bad it is. We have other cities that are very bad. New York has a problem. And then you have, of course, Baltimore and Oakland. We don't even mention that anymore. They're so far gone. We're not going to let it happen. We're not going to lose our cities over this. And this will go further. We're starting very strongly with D.C., and we're going to clean it up real quick, very quickly, as they say. Days ago, a former member of the DOJ staff was savagely beaten by a band of roving thugs after defending a young woman from an attempted carjacking. He was left dripping in blood. He thought he was dead, with a broken nose and concussion. Can't believe that he's alive. He can't believe it. In June, a 21-year-old congressional intern was tragically killed after being hit by a stray bullet in a drive-by shooting. A former Trump administration official named Mike Gill, fantastic person, was murdered last year in cold blood in a carjacking blocks away from the White House. We all knew him. Great person. Waiting for his wife as she was walking to the car. A Democrat congressman was also carjacked at gunpoint not far from the Capitol. And in 2023, an aide to Senator Rand Paul was stabbed in the chest and head by a demented lunatic as he walked down the street, just absolutely for no reason. Horrifically, last July 4th weekend, a 3-year-old girl was shot in the head and killed while sitting in a car near the Capitol. It's becoming a situation of complete and total lawlessness. And we're getting rid of the slums, too. We have slums here. We're getting rid of them. I know it's not politically correct. You'll say, oh, so terrible. No, we're getting rid of the slums.
They'll call it racism. They love it. Anytime you call it out, oh, it's a racism. No, it's realism.
Rampage through city streets at all times of the day. There are ATVs, motorbikes. They travel pretty well. Entire neighborhoods are.
Oh, they tell me, Clay, at least they're not robbing and killing.
Curfews. Just this past weekend, gunfire went through, and you saw that, the Navy Yard. I saw it this morning. They saw that they fought back against law. See, they fight back until you knock the hell out of them, because it's the only language they understand. But they fought back against law enforcement last night. And they're not going to be fighting back long, because I've instructed them and told them whatever happens, they love to spit in the face of the police as the police are standing up there in uniform. They're standing and they're screaming at them an inch away from their face. And then they start spitting in their face. And I said, you tell them, you spit and we hit. And they can hit real hard. It's a disgusting thing. I've watched that for years, for 3-4 years. I've watched them. The Police are standing, and they're told, don't do anything under any search. So and you can see they want to get at it. And they're standing there, and people are spitting in their face, and they're not allowed to do anything. But now they are allowed to do whatever the hell they want. This dire public safety crisis stems directly from the abject failures of the city's local leadership. The radical left city council adopted no cash bail. By the way,
Jackson, Mississippi, this is exactly what we're talking about here.
So that's what started the problem in New York, and they don't change it. They don't want to change it. That's what started it in Chicago. I mean, bad politicians started it, bad leadership started it, but that was the one thing that's central, no cash bail. Somebody murders somebody, and they're out on no cash bail before the day is out. We're going to end that in Chicago. We're going to change the statute. I spoke with Pam and Todd and everybody. We're going to change the statute, and I'm going to have to get the Republicans to vote because the Democrats are weak on crime. Totally weak on crime.
So if you're just tuning in, Trump is federalizing, breaking news, Trump is federalizing the D.C. Police Department and deploying the National Guard into Washington, D.C., just like he should Jackson, Mississippi.
Count on the Republicans in Congress and Senate to vote. We have the majority, so we'll vote. We don't have a big majority, but we've gotten everything, including the great, big, beautiful bill. Got that done, and that's one of the greatest things that's ever happened to people in this country. They're starting to figure it out, how good it is. Biggest tax cut in history. So many things. But we'll be able to get that done. So, Todd, if you and Pam can draw up things working with the people, we will. I'll get it passed. We'll get it passed with the Republicans. Probably won't get, think of this, probably won't get one Democrat vote because they have no idea what they're doing.
No, because like I said earlier, you're not going to get any Democrats to vote on anything that fixes crime because the cure, the money is not in the cure. The money is in continuing to fix a problem that they don't want fixed. It's continuing to put Band-Aid over a bullet wound.
Very well-known politician.
And the bullet wounds are endless around here.
Yeah, that men should be allowed to play in women's sport. They just don't get it. They said it's an 80-20 issue, and I think it's a 97-3 issue. And I don't know who the three are. I've never heard anybody nobody's ever come up to me, sir, you have to.
All right, we're going to kill the Trump, not kill Trump. We're going to kill the Trump stream. FBI, do not mistake what I said there. We're killing the Trump stream. So that's how you make America great again. That's how you begin to save these Democrat cities from themselves. You quit tolerating this foolishness. You know, the same, again, they want to let these kids in from Jackson. These are the same people who fought tooth and nail to keep Capitol Police out of Jackson. These are the same people who are taught that all police want to kill them. Is that really what you want coming over into these county schools? Is kids from a culture that are raised in a culture to hate police? I'm being dead serious here. And this is where they try to play this gotcha game. Oh, Clay, that's racist. No, it's not. It's you're racist by just assuming I'm talking about black people. I could be talking about anybody. See, y'all been calling me racist for so long. You're like the boy that cried wolf. I don't care anymore. What are you going to do? Call me racist? You been did that. You won't find a single local mayor that is willing, Jason White will not find a single local mayor from a city that surrounds Jackson, Mississippi, to stand shoulder to shoulder with him at the Capitol and say that this school choice bill is what's best for their city. You will not find a single Tri-County area state representative, Democrat or Republican, that feels so confident about this that they are willing to go stand shoulder to shoulder with Jason White up there at the Capitol to push this school choice nonsense. Not with the public school aspect. You won't do it. I am right on this. And look, I am for charter schools. I am for private schools. Y'all gonna have to figure out a mechanism to let the money follow the kid to those, but not to other public schools. We cannot reward Jacksonians, and I'm using Jackson because this is the area I live in. People on the coast don't want this. People at those good school districts on the coast don't want this. People in those good school districts in North Mississippi don't want this. This is the rich white elites whose kids don't go to public schools trying to tell the rest of us that they know what's best for us. And I ain't doing it. I ain't partaking in this. If that means I'm not a Republican, if that means I'm anti-Trump agenda, then I'm anti-Trump agenda and I'm not a damn Republican. If that means I got to go along with this piece of crap legislation to be either or. Breaking news. Mass shooting in Jackson, Mississippi overnight. I found out about this around 2 a.m. I couldn't confirm, so I didn't discuss it, but it is breaking now. I just posted exclusive video from the scene on my Facebook and Instagram pages at SaveJXN. Breaking news, mass shooting in Democrat death culture ridden metropolis, Jackson, Mississippi. 8 people shot, 1 in critical condition. Exclusive video now available at SaveJXN on Facebook and Instagram. And as soon as I leave the air here in about 30 seconds, I'll post it to X and YouTube as well. These are the people. These are the parents. These are the people. This is the culture that they want to allow to just willy-nilly come on into Rankin and Madison County public schools. Is that what y'all want? Reach out to your legislators today in the House and the Senate and tell them you do not support school choice. You do not support Democrat death culture coming into our communities. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Andrew Gosser next.